Okay, everybody. So this is the kind of issue I'm having here with these mechanical light timers, all right? So this timer here is AC powered, meaning it's powered by the house power, all right? It was installed just around the time the house was being constructed, so probably middle to late 2016. And we had one here, one for the backlight by the slider, and we used to have one also in the garage, you know, for the 4 lights above the garage doors. And I gotta tell you something here. These timers I'm really not a fan of, right? Let me tell you why. I guess partially the reason is that it's electronic, right? And as you can see here, you can see it currently says off, which makes sense. And I'm trying to do this the best I can without too much reflection. And if I push the thing to turn it on, it turns on, as you can see, and off, okay? And the biggest problem I'm having with these timers is, this first happened with the one in the garage a while ago, and it took us a while before we finally replaced it. It was doing this thing where, at some point, it just stops responding to the on and off time, all right? I had done everything in creation. I turned it off for a long time with the circuit breaker, let it reset the time, did everything again, reset it, and guess what? It still doesn't respond. The timer just simply refused to respond to the on and off time. And it's for both on and off. I turned on the light manually, and when it got to the off time, didn't respond. So these things are just junk. I don't know what the brand name is of these timers. They're backlit in green, and let me show you the keypad. Maybe you can give you an idea of what brand it is. Okay, I just turned it on. So I replaced the one in the garage with a different kind, which I'll show you in a bit, and that's working all fine. And I do trust that timer, and I'll tell you why in a bit. All right. So then, as you all know, we had the tropical storm come by, Isaiah's, whatever the name is. Okay. And as you know, this timer and the one for the back slider in the sunroom aren't on the generator. So naturally, they were off for a few days, for about 6 days to be exact. Okay. So when power came back on, what did I do? I did the same thing. I went to both timers, reset the program, the clock, the calendar, everything, put it all together, and now guess what? This timer and the one back in the sunroom, which we'll get to, they're doing the exact same thing the one in the garage did, okay? And that is, every time it gets to the on and off time, nothing happens, okay? And that's so annoying, okay? Like I said, I held on the reset button inside here, did that 2 or 3 times with both timers, then I shut them off with the breakers, let them reset the time and everything, same thing. It just will not respond to the times anymore. And honestly, these AC powered timers, I am just not a fan of at all. It really makes me miss the timer that we had at the Long Island house. We had the big mechanical timer for the front lights that was installed, I believe, in 1996. From 1996 until when my dad moved in 2018, it never gave one problem. Not one problem, all right? That thing ran 24/7, with the exception of some power outages, obviously, over the years. 24/7, and it ran all the time, not one problem. Of course, you know, you have to adjust the on and off times accordingly for, you know, for daylight length between the summer and the winter. But, you know, we always had the lights shut off at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so we never changed that. And then the on time, we just, you know, adjusted accordingly. So let me go over here and go over to the sunroom and show you, it's like the same thing. There's Marco. All right, so same thing. This timer is doing it. It will not respond to the on or off time. If you see, I'll push the timer and this will respond. See, that part is fine, but again, did the same thing. Multiple resets. Turn it off at the breaker. Nothing. It's not complying anymore, if you want to call it that. All right. And I'll show you the timer that I replaced in the garage. Okay, and this is the kind that I'm going to use for here. And just listen to the sound of this one. That sounds so much stronger too. I like that. So I replaced that one about oh, I'd say maybe about 2 months ago. And now I'm going to do the same with these two here. Now that timer you just saw, okay, I'll give you a reason why I trust them, but let me show it to you first. So here's the timer right here. I'm waiting to get a second one, but Ace Hardware only had one at the time, so I'm just waiting to get a second one. And mind you, these timers are not cheap, okay? They're about like $42 a piece. So yeah, so they better work well for that regard. Now this one says right here, neutral not required. So obviously, this timer is battery powered instead of AC powered. Now, immediately I'm sure some of you are going to say, you know, that's a bad thing, you know, this and that, because, you know, the battery can die and this and that. Yes, it can, okay? But the main thing to remember is this battery, if your house loses power and it's not on a generator, that will keep the timer for you. It's going to keep everything programmed correctly. It's going to keep everything, you know, going even if the power isn't connected. And now I'll tell you why exactly I'm okay with these timers. So here's one of those timers right here. This was actually installed back in, I think October 2016 or November, not long after my folks first closed on the house. So my brother installed this around that time, and this thing is coming up on just about 4 years now. It still runs perfectly. Battery is fine, keeps the time all the time, responds correctly. And here, just listen how strong this is. I just like that sound so much. And so I have confidence in this timer that the ones I'm going to install for those other two lights are going to do just fine. Because based on the experience I've had with this timer for almost 4 years now, this has not given one problem. And like I said, when power goes out, this is still powered and it keeps the time. That's important. And changing the battery whenever that day should happen is very simple, okay? There's this thing right here. I kind of have to grab it, but I don't want to take it out while it's working fine. You simply just pull this out, put the new battery in, and you're all set to go. I forget the exact size of the battery, but it's kind of like one of those sort of smaller ones. You're gonna have to give me a second here. Let me see if I can find out where that is. The battery is included, mind you. Okay, I can't find what kind of battery it uses, so just forget it. So, like I said, next thing I'm going to do is, once I get the second one of these, I'm going to put them in the other timers, and then we're going to have all 4 timers be like that. So, you know, it is what it is. That's the electronic light timers, and, you know, so this is what we're going to go with. And, I mean, as much as I like those mechanical timers, having 4 of them is just not going to be practical. So, I mean, this is the best alternative to go, I think. So, when the time comes, get the second one of these timers, and then, you know, install them all, and then, or rather, install the remaining 2, and then we should have timers that are actually going to work properly and not give nonsense like this where it just stops responding to the time because it's of a power outage. So, there you guys go. We're going to see where it goes from here. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.